yourself?
Right. Oh, I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for asking. How's it going?
I'm okay. I'm dealing with some personal issues, but that's neither here nor there. I don't know why I said that, but how do you pronounce your first name?
That's Ashwari.
Ashwitty.
That's
Okay.
right.
What do your friends call you?
Ash.
Ash. Okay.
We
Thank
keep it
you.
simple.
May I call you Ash?
Yes, please. Yes,
Okay.
please. That'll be nice.
Okay. Now Futurepreneur introduced us, is that correct?
That's right, sir.
Can you tell me a little bit about your business, please?
Great. Okay. So my business, I registered it in 2021 of March. But soon after I registered it, I think in a month or so, I conceived, and the my pregnancy was not very friendly. So I couldn't do much work. This is primarily a digital company. So I've done my master's in mass communications. I've done digital and research journalism based work all my life. And I moved to Canada in December of 2018. So when I was working full-time job when I started this, because I was helping a lot of during the pandemic, I was helping a lot of SMEs with social media optimization. I was
Okay.
working on their profiles, on their Instagram and YouTube channels, and on their LinkedIn pages, etc. And then I went on mat leave for a year. I am back this February. And so the operational age of my business is under 1 year, if I can put it that way. However, in terms of work, since I started in February, I have been writing digital grants for companies, for SMEs with 500K plus in revenue. So this is a digital grant introduced by the government of Canada. So that is something that has really picked up more than any other work that I was doing on the digital front. And this is also paying me much better because the other work required more of my hours, and the kind of remuneration for those hours, the project costs, most of them would go towards inventory, towards getting freelancers, local talent, and getting them to deliver the project. With this digital grant, because I know a lot more about creating digital roadmaps, etc., so it takes up just my time, and I work with the digital advisor, which is a government advisor. So I am liking this work more.
Okay.
So all in all, yeah, that's what I've been doing communications and digital.
Okay. So how many grants have you placed? How many?
So there is one particular grant that I'm working on, the Canadian Digital Adoption Plan, and I have worked between March and now. I have worked with 7 to 8 companies, and I'm currently working on 3 more.
Okay. So too early to tell what your success rate is?
I'm sorry.
Is it too early to tell what your success rate
Yeah,
is?
yeah.
Oh,
Like there, I have 3 approvals out of the 7 companies I've worked at.
okay.
That is because the process is it is a 30 to 60 day process.
Right. Okay. So 3 out of 7. What do you think you'll end up with? Will you get all 7?
Oh yeah, 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 for
You
sure, for
will? Okay.
sure. I'm very
So it's
confident.
100% success rate then.
For sure, yes.
Okay. Um, all right. So what is the biggest challenge on, let's call that a stream of income. What is the biggest challenge on that stream of income for you?
Uh, the biggest challenge, there are 2 challenges I see. The first one is that I need to network better because right now I have my first circle of people and they are referring businesses to me. And once I work with the business, they will refer more business. But I know that because every business has a life cycle of 30 to 60 days on this grant. So by the time I get references, would be second half of the year, or maybe second half of the second half of the year, right?
Right.
The
Okay.
second challenge I foresee is that this grant ends in 2025. So this year looks good. Next year, I know I'll get stronger, but I need to find my transition tool like once, because this is my strongest footing till date.
Okay.
And I
And
want
why
more.
why do you like this particular program more so than the hundreds of other programs that the Canadian government offers?
So 2 reasons, because this is one of the only digital grants for SMEs in the Canadian
Okay.
by the Canadian government, and two, because the kind of work that I'm doing here, when I'm working with a digital advisor, and I'm working with different companies. So I'm working right from DSPs to transportation to medical to healthcare companies. So the industry knowledge, there's a lot of learning about the industry, because when you create a digital roadmap for them, you need to know a lot more about the industry, how they work, what are their softwares, what are their tools. So I'm liking the whole knowledge accumulation, if I can put it that way.
Okay. All right. One thing that I find with government programs is a lot of times they're extended. So maybe 2025 is not a real date.
So yes.
I've heard a lot of programs that were supposed to be for a year or two, and they're on their 60th year. So,
Wow.
so maybe there's some hope there for you. But in case it does end, because some do, we should find maybe other streams of income, right?
That's right.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, your biggest challenge is getting enough introductions to clients.
Yep.
Okay. So that's a problem that we face quite a bit. Every entrepreneur faces that problem. In fact, I sit on the CEO board where we have multinational corporations come in to present their company. So every Friday we're dealing with this, and I would say 99% of them, they need funding, but they think they need funding, but what they really need is more exposure, right? Not enough people know about their product or services. If they did, they wouldn't need funding,
That's
right?
true.
So, and these companies are asking anywhere from 25 million to 300 million. So
Wow.
it happens in a smaller scale. It happens in the bigger scale as well. So possibly fortunate for you, one of the things that we do, and I find that we are really best at, is designing and creating systems to create trusted relationships. Okay. We call that trusted circle or stepping stone relationships. And to give you an example, we have a painting company client. Most of my clients are in the construction space.
Okay.
We have a painting company client who travels to 38 countries a year, doesn't spend a lot of time in this company, but uses stepping stone relationships. So in other words, he uses real estate agents. He has a relationship with let's say 40 real estate agents, and each of these real estate agents know 1,000 to 10,000 people that own homes, right? So all he has to do is maintain relationships with 40, and they in turn create relationships with their clients. And we design or we teach the real estate agents to use that company as a conversation starter.
Okay.
Right? Because a lot of times if you own a house and how many flyers and calendars and magnetic stickers you get from real estate agents, it gets daunting and it gets old very quickly. But if you can start a conversation with a homeowner from a new perspective they never really considered, now you're differentiating yourself. So that's stepping stone relationships. The other one that is a leverage tool or can be used as a leverage tool for you. And again, a mortgage as an example, if I have $20,000 or $100,000, I can buy $1 million house, right? Without leverage tool, and a mortgage is a leverage tool, without a leverage tool, there's no way I can buy $1 million house unless I have $1 million. Right? So leverage tools are very important in business, okay? Trusted circles, and you kind of hinted on that. You said my family, your immediate friends. So you're using your family, your immediate friends to introduce you to people, right?
That's right.
But there are more scientific, better ways to do that, where you're not depending on friends or family to do that.
You're right. Okay.
And we can get deeper into that later on. So before we getting too deep into this conversation, who is your ideal client for this grant?
For this particular grant, my ideal client is any business that does 500K plus in revenue in one of the last 3 financial years. So that is the eligibility criteria, right? You have one employee, you have 500K in revenue, one of the last 3 financial years. And the restrictions, though, are they should not be into gambling, they should not be into cannabis, they should not be into long-term care homes that, have people staying over, that kind of thing. So, yeah. So
Okay.
that's what an ideal client looks like to me.
Okay, that's pretty broad, correct?
Mm-hmm.
When you're looking for everybody, you find nobody.
Okay, I'll remember that always. Thank you.
When you're looking for everybody, you find nobody. So I would suggest you narrow that down into very specific. I'm looking for a 44-year-old business owner who lives in Vancouver, who does golf in Sunday morning. You need to be very specific. And when you're that specific, now you start finding a lot of people.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
If you and I end up working together, you're gonna read some books that are gonna help you with this. These principles, these are proven principles
Mm-hmm.
that I continually learn from. And I also have 6 advisors.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why I say that is because we all have blind spots.
Yeah.
Okay. We all have blind spots. And we can't see our blind spots. But when you talk to a lot of entrepreneurs or CEOs or CEO clubs or mastermind groups or those people who are trained to read between the lines and to see blind spots, all of a sudden now you're starting to see blind spots through their eyes because they're being honest with you.
Right.
Okay. So I think that's going to be extremely important as you grow your company. This is a full-time venture for you, is it?
Not at the moment, like I am doing this actively, but by the side, I'm also consulting with a staffing company and a supply chain agency. Basically, what I do for them is I help them with marketing and communications.
Okay.
And there is a nonprofit. So nonprofit has always been my passion, and I volunteered a lot. So there is a startup nonprofit, and I consult with them too every now and then. So I do a lot of consulting work by the side because I love dabbling between projects. I'm not a very my energies cannot wake up and do the same job every morning. I feel
Okay.
like I feel the need to do different things every day.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And that's typical for entrepreneurs. We chase a lot of shiny things. I
Ouch.
do that as well.
All
We
right then. Then I'll take that as a compliment.
we all do that. We all do that. So what is your goal for this particular company over the next 12 months, 5 years?
Right now, I want to add credibility, one, because right now, trust and credibility are not my best friends. Very new in the business
Okay.
and very limited exposure and circle. Two, it's been 4.5 years since I'm in Canada, so I'm still looked upon as a newcomer. So that
Mm-hmm.
again has its own challenges.
Right. And your accent doesn't help you.
Doesn't help me either, yes, sir. And nor does
Okay.
my face. So yes, those things are my challenges. Yes. So right now I'm working on gaining trust and credibility this year, which is why I'm taking a lot of gigs by the side to keep the monies flowing into the system, to keep padding up whenever I need additional operational expenses. I should have some handy. Next year, I want to concentrate on revenue.
Okay. First of all, let me back up a little bit because I kind of put my foot in my mouth here. I'm an immigrant as well. We are all immigrants. My name
Mm-hmm.
is not Leo,
Mm-hmm.
right? My name is Leonardo, but
Right. Okay.
nobody can pronounce that,
Right.
right? So I make it easier for them by saying my name is Leo, right?
Right.
So what I find as entrepreneurs or salespeople, because we're always selling ourselves, we always build barriers between us and the clients we say we want, and yet we build China-sized walls between ourselves and our clients. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
we do that subconsciously. but we do it, right? So the thing is, and one of the I analyze thousands of businesses, so I'm very sensitive to that. And what we always try to do is, instead of building a wall, we want to get on the other side of the wall where they are.
Right. Of course,
So
yes.
so you're doing some of those things too. I'm doing some of those things, and that's why I have 6 advisors. What is the difference between a goal and a wish?
A wish could be radical, unrealistic. A goal should be more realistic, and it should have a plan. A wish may not have a plan. It's a wish.
Right. I could tell myself, and my ex-girlfriend used to love buying lottery tickets. And I'm thinking, okay, do you understand the numbers? Right? Because most people don't understand the odds. So buying a lottery ticket, even though she thinks it's a plan, it's not. It's a dream. It's a wish, right? The difference between a plan and a goal is a goal has a starting point, a finish point with daily action plan, daily steps, right?
Mm-hmm.
So based on the comment that you gave me, your 1 to 5 years, is that a goal or is that a wish?
So I'd like that to be a goal.
Okay. So if you want it to be a goal, then we need a starting point, finish point, and daily action steps. Okay. Because a larger goal of a 12-month goal has to be broken up into a daily action plan, right?
Sure.
Or else it just becomes, a pipe dream.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's something that I think you need to focus on a little bit more, because if we don't know where we're going nowhere.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So, and I would also suggest that you narrow down who your target demographic is. Look
Mm-hmm.
at your past 7 clients. What do they have in common? Right? Maybe they're all random, and maybe they don't have anything in common. But in order to, if you were going to build a house, you're going to have a pretty good idea how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what type of flooring it is, what type of roof it is, right? You can't start building a house until the architect is done, right? In this case, you have to be the architect. I can help you with that, but you need to have a very clear idea exactly what you're doing, exactly what you're building, and don't try and do it by yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. In
Okay.
fact, it is food for thought, because when you mentioned that if you look back at your last 7 clients and you figure out what's the common thing between them, now that
Yes.
I think, yeah, for me, what really matters, I should have access to the business owner directly. So if I'm looking at a multi-corporation or a multi-tiered business, then I'm actually dealing with a lot of people along the way. And there were 2 such businesses I tried to approach, and I still haven't been able to crack them because the decision maker is somewhere else for a process like this.
Okay. So let's talk about that for a second. How have you been trying to reach them? And who are you trying to reach in the organization?
So primarily, I'm targeting SMEs, the small medium businesses.
Right.
So I'm directly reaching out to the business owner who are actively involved in the daily operations of the business, and because they are the penultimate decision makers. There's another company I was trying to reach, and they have like 4 or 5 branch offices, and I'm working up the ladder. Like I've met one of their branch managers who's connected me to someone in the corporate office. That someone in the corporate office is not giving me the time for a meeting, and I know even when I do meet them, I will not be able to get through with what I want. I
Right.
will eventually be directed somewhere else. I know that too, because the bigger the organization, they will want to involve their legal team, their accounts team, their digital team, and they will want all of them on board before they decide something. If the business is smaller, with the business owner being involved in the daily operations, they exactly identify, oh, I'm getting $100,000 interest-free loan, I want that. I'm getting $15,000 grant, I want that. You're giving me a digital plan in return, let's work together. So, I need quick decision makers. because
Right.
that's the kind of work I enjoy doing too.
Okay. How are you reaching them though? Are you using LinkedIn? Are you using Facebook? Are you using email?
No, right now I'm reaching them directly. So, like I said, it's only references. So, like my husband, he is into media sales, and he interacts with a lot of SMEs by virtue of his job.
Okay, so your
So
husband is a stepping stone relationship, by the way.
yes,
So
for
go ahead.
me, he is right now. So he connects me with a few people. What he does is just introduces them to the idea of the grant, the program. And then when the business owner is interested, he connects them with me. So I either book a meeting with them, I meet them in person, or most of them are available on call and they just want to figure it out on the call. So they like, give me 15 minutes, I do my pitch, and they ask me for next steps. So it's
Okay.
pretty close. Like we do not need multiple conversations for it.
Okay. All right. So let me backtrack a little bit. Um, I've I've lost my LinkedIn profile 8 times. Okay.
Yeah, I saw that in your footer in the email.
Right. Because of COVID mandates, freedom of speech, human trafficking issues, and so on. So there's stuff that I'm very passionate about, and I'm willing to fight for it, even though it costs me millions of dollars. I'm still willing to fight for it. But when I had my LinkedIn profile, I had 127,000 connections, and 100% of my clients were coming in from LinkedIn. They were coming to me because of trusted circles, because of stepping stone relationships. There was enough people, saying you got to talk to Leo, right? So same thing. You need to have that same type of environment where 50 people, 100 people are saying, you got to talk to this person, right?
Right.
The other way that I do that, because now I'm trying to reinvent myself on Facebook. And recently I've had a conversation with on Facebook with construction business owners. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which again is the same thing. I own shares in 19 different companies. I'm starting a bookkeeping company. So I'm taking that conversation and repurposing that conversation to talk about bookkeeping and bookkeeping needs so my people can get involved in the conversation to get leads from that group. Because I originally posted something about culture and stuff like it. Doesn't matter what the original conversation was. You create a lot of engagement, and I got 700 comments on that post. And now that post are mainly business owners, right? And you need to talk to business owners, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do.
Right? You need to talk to business owners. But I could become, let's say, someone that refers business to you because now they trust me because I've been involved for a while. And then you jump into the conversation from a warm lead perspective, just like your husband is doing. But you
That's
need to have, let's say, 50 guys like me doing that,
that's right.
right?
Yeah.
But you design that system,
Mm-hmm.
right? That people introduce people to you. And to me, it should be a no-brainer because you could start a conversation, or the real estate agent, or mortgage broker, or a roofing business owner can say, "Hey, I would love to get $100,000 for free from the government, right? Would
Yeah.
you?" Right? I think that's a conversation started. People will say, "Well, what's the catch?" Right? Um, then when you explain, well, it's your federal government, you paid for this already, right? Why not take
Yeah.
advantage of it? Because your competitors, chances are going to do it. So
Yeah.
whether you do it or not, the money's available, right? So that's an easy transition to have that conversation, point in your direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
But
Yes.
keep in mind, I'm using my credibility. I'm using their trust in me to push a conversation in your direction. But I need to know before I do that your trust foundation's in place, your credibility is in place, everything looks way above board.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of scammers that try and
Oh,
use
for
that,
sure.
right?
Yes.
So um I hope we didn't get too deep into this because I would like to find a way to work with you on this, but you need to make a decision whether I'm the right type of person to guide you in this process as well, right? So it's got to be a mutual decision. So,
Absolutely.
do you have any other questions for me at this point?
No, I actually just wanted to, like, we're having this conversation and I'm listening to you, and it's really nice to know, to understand the processes. We're talking a lot about processes, and I think, yes, that's one place I could really use a lot of your mentoring and advice in, because that's something I don't think I have. I know how to get things done, I know how to do things, but maybe to develop a process and have a very focused approach towards it is where I'd like to really work with you on.
Right. Having systems,
Yes,
because if you use these, you're going to accomplish, a certain
only so
level.
much.
But if you use this and you
Yeah,
use other people as well, and eventually, I see you having 3 or 4 or 10 assistants who are working this system, who are pushing people your way, then that way you're only focusing on having conversations with the right people,
that's
right?
right.
All
Yes,
the nitty-gritty stuff, setting up email, sending out emails and scheduling calendars and confirming calendars, all that stuff, that can be done by your virtual assistants. Your
right.
time is only reserved to talk to people who are primed, are warmed up, and are saying, yeah, this sounds too good to be true, but yeah, I'd like to hear what you have to say, right?
Yeah.
And I
So
think if you
many.
have 10 calls like that a day, I think you're going to close at least 50, 60, 70% of those. And now you're talking about a real business.
That's right. So, there are sometimes people, what they do is, and I'm sorry if we've got a few minutes left, and I'd like to take a little of that time.
Sure.
They understand the program, they understand how what the process is, and then they tell me that it's okay, we'll do it ourselves. And I say, okay, like, you can do it, and I can point you in the right direction too, because it's a government portal. I do not own it. I don't, this is not an IP that I own, that only I can, deliver it for you. There are 200 people out there in the market who are delivering the same program for businesses. So you can do it on your own. All you're saving is $1,000, because I'm charging you $1,000 as my fee to facilitate the entire process for you. And yeah, so having said that, yes. So
Okay.
I find a lot of those people in whenever I've approached the small businesses here.
Right. And the smaller the business, the more likely they are to say that.
That's right.
So, okay. So how many people, what percentage of the people you've had conversation with have said that?
Mm, I would say roughly 30%.
30%. Okay. So if you know, and this is one of the book I'm going to ask you to read because it specifically talks about this point. Okay.
Okay.
So if you know you're going to have a conversations that you're going to have, and you
Mm-hmm.
know the outcomes of those conversations, and you don't like the outcomes of those conversations, right? Change it before you start. If you're giving them a loophole,
Mm-hmm.
close the loophole before you start the conversation.
Okay.
Okay. And by the way, I've worked with other people that offer government grants, um, professional people. But the way we work with them is, and the reason why we work with them is, and we pre-instruct the client saying, the government, dealing with the government is like a landmine. If you don't state the application in this particular way, you're going to lose the grant,
Yeah.
whether it's correct or not. And I just had the other people join us. We have a few minutes. Um, but we start off by saying he or she has a 100% success rate.
Right.
If you do it yourself, you may have a 30%, 20% success rate. How valuable is your time? It's up to you to judge.
Yeah.
But we only have one opportunity to create a great first impression. Whether the government accepts an application from you a second time, we don't know that. But we
Right.
know that we have a 100% success rate. Okay. So solve the problem before the problem occurs.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me
So
try this for sure.
yeah. Think about this. Let me know whether you want us to work together, but I think I can help you.
And I'm very
And
excited. I think I have already thought about it, and I really want us to work together.
okay,
If you would like to like that too.
sure. And I think you can help some of my clients as well. So this could be a win-win type relationship. So give
Thank
it
you.
some thought. I still want you to think about it. Send me an email, send Futurepreneur an email of your decision. I'm already on board, so you don't need my answer. You'll have my answer.
Thank
And let's schedule another call. W- Okay, so we haven't talked about my expectations.
Right.
I don't like when people go silent. I don't like ghosting. Okay.
Oh yeah,
Um,
sure.
a lot of times I work with people, some people need, to have 2 or 3 conversations per day. That can drive me crazy. But
Mm-hmm.
if that's what you need, that's what you need. But
Right.
a minimum of, a 30-minute or 15-minute conversation per week.
For
Okay.
sure.
So pick a time on my calendar every Tuesday at 7 a.m. or 7 p.m. or whatever that is, 15 minutes, send me an agenda for
Okay.
that meeting. This is what I would like to discuss. I can prepare and we can go from there. Okay, sound good?
Sounds good. That's perfect. I'd love that.
All right, we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Leo. Thank you so much. Have a good
Bye.
evening. Bye.